Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Show Style and Spirit. I am Ebony, of course, and as you can see from the title of this video, I want to be talking about, I'm going to give commentary, I should say, on the points that Winter Harris made with Queen Shiba during their interview this week. I thought it was fantastic. It was very eye-opening, and I'm glad that Winter felt comfortable with Queen Shiba to talk about her experience on Love and Marriage DC. So we have a lot to talk about. So before I get into some points that she made and my opinions, I ask that you all please hit the like button on this video. Then YouTube will recommend this video to more people who enjoy discussing the various topics surrounding reality TV, particularly the Love and Marriage franchise. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit. I would definitely love to have you. And everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and my opinion. All right, so Winter actually explained to Queen Sheba that producers for Love and Marriage DC did not give her a scene to explain that she is no longer a relationship coach. And I remember at the reunion, I kind of had this feeling watching the season 1 reunion. I was like, I think Carlos is trying to make fun of her. He asked her briefly about her being a relationship coach and growing up like in the religious setting. And I think that he was setting her up to be the butt of an entire reunion joke and just put a target on her back. And she did not get to explain that she was a former relationship coach. That is very important because she has looked like, oh my gosh, girl, you call yourself a relationship coach, and here it is, the second divorce with a man you did not know was living with his parents. You had never gone over to his house. You did not know that allegedly he had all these financial struggles. He totally misrepresented himself, and yet you still married him. That was the picture that it was giving. And she used the word villain. She used this word a couple of times to describe how it was basically pinned on her, that role of being a villain. She said it during this point of the relationship coach info, and then she later said it towards the end of the interview. When she said it this first time, I thought to myself, well, I don't know if the proper word is villain in terms of the relationship coach storyline, but they definitely made her look foolish. Like she does not have any judgment when it comes to men or anyone that she's dating, and yet she's this relationship coach. They made her look like a fool. And it was giving Shirley Strawberry. Of course, Shirley Strawberry happened after season 1 of Love and Marriage DC, but that's what it's giving. Now, also, Winter pointed out that Melody Cherie from Love and Marriage Huntsville was scheduled to film a scene with Monique in DC for season 1 as a guest of Monique's to introduce Love and Marriage DC as a sister show to Love and Marriage Huntsville. But Melody got sick. When I was watching the interview, I was wondering, I wonder, is this the time when she got the Carnival 19? But in any event, Melody was not able to fly to DC and film the scene with Monique Samuels. So Monique asked Winter to do it, and Winter did. And I remember they were at this beautiful venue. They did the podcast scene, and Arena Tyler, in her confessional, she was saying, yeah, that girl, the side of her head was shaved. And, when a woman does something like that to her hair, she going through something. Because I remember when I interviewed Winter, this was back in 2022, I was saying to her, because, my hair was locked. I had probably been locked for about a year. And I was saying, some women do think that if you do anything unconventional or not as popular with your hair, then you must be going through something. I think that it's like laughable and, sorry to say, but a little simple-minded. No shade, Arena. But that was like a connection that Winter and I shared. Because I'm like, and what you did wasn't this huge thing. I mean, when I was a kid in the 80s and my sister Coretta, we're 12 years apart, she was already in high school, and like she would shave the sides of her head, and like she had long hair in the back and it was cut short at the top and then was shaved on the sides above the ear. Like that's nothing new. But Arena and Ashley season one, their response to Winter's hair being shaved on the side, it was like such a big deal. But that's what I remember from that scene. So it was very interesting to learn that, Melody was scheduled to film that scene and introduce the two shows, and like if you believe that everything happens for a reason, then you might think like, yeah, we all know what it appears like Melody is not the executive producer of the spin-offs of the Love and Marriage franchise. So like I'm kind of glad that she did not film that scene with Monique, because if she's not getting her due credit and her due coins, why even film that scene like it's all hunky dory? You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like it was meant to be for her not to film that scene with Monique Samuels. So there was a producer or some sort of executive at Kingdom Reign Entertainment by the name of Angela. She no longer works for Kingdom Reign. And, Queen Shiba and Winter, they were talking, and Queen Shiba felt like Winter had a better edit when Angela worked there. And I do see where some reality TV stars, they will prop out like their favorite producers, I guess, whom they work really well with. I remember when Monique Samuels, her last season on Potomac, I remember her posting a picture of a young man. He happened to be Caucasian, and she said that he was a great worker. And we've seen it recently with a reality TV star. I've seen it on their Instagram. They were propping out a producer. So that would make sense to me if you just really bond with someone and they make sure that your edit is your reality and they're not trying to paint you a certain way like a villain. So that totally makes sense. So, oh my gosh. So we all heard Winter, okay, when she talked about the money. So Queen Sheba asked, Queen Sheba is very direct, a clear communicator. And Winter explained that contractually she could not say the exact amount that she's gotten paid to be on Love and Marriage DC. And I'm going to give my opinion on why I think that's in the contract, okay? But she said she can say that the max is no greater than 2,500 per episode. That is wild to me for multiple reasons. One, so if they film if they get like 10 episodes, so the max is 25,000 there, and then you have the reunion. So we know that this upcoming reunion is 3 parts. So that's 7,500 plus 25,000. That's just $32,500. Like a single person can't even live off of 32.5 a year. So that is insane. And I'm guessing that contractually they cannot say what they make because OWN does not want to be embarrassed. And I'm sure Carlos doesn't want to be embarrassed. Like he's producing these shows that, then it would give low budget if that's all you're paying the talent. But I am hoping that the production staff is making more money. Those videographers, the editors, the videographers that's carrying the equipment, the cameras, the tripods to every scene, setting up in the scene, miking everyone, breaking down, and then the editors, they have to sift through that video, get the vision from the producer, the field producer who was there, and then edit. Then they have to film the confessionals and weave those in. I'm hoping that they're making a decent coin where they can live decently off of, but that was very, very shocking. And, Queen Sheba said, this is giving Love and Hip Hop, or even when the YouTuber Latoya Forever was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, according to her ex-husband, he told Tasha K that Latoya Forever just got paid between 10 and 15,000 to film a season, which is crazy. Now we all know Latoya Forever. She is an amazing, large YouTuber. So she was just doing Real Housewives of Atlanta just to be exposed to a different audience, different age bracket, people who weren't watching her on YouTube. But that is just crazy for all of the filming and the exposure to get paid that little amount of money. Why do you think it's in the talent contract not to say what they're making over at OWN? I am guessing it's because they don't want to look low brow, low budget, low level. If I own and I was paying the talent that, I would definitely want to keep that a secret as well. Now she did point out that Monique Samuels made more money, and I'm guessing that would make sense because she came from a popular reality TV show anyway, and they were really trying to poach her and get her involved. But I remember watching Funky Dineva. This has been like a few years ago. And he was saying how he was conversing with Monique Samuels, telling her about his YouTube stream of income. And he said that Monique Samuels told him, "You make more on YouTube than I do on the Real Housewives of Potomac." So that's definitely, an eye opener. Very interesting. Now, Winter talked about how the season 2A and season 2B, this is so interesting. Like, some people will say this is like confirmation, when you have a thought and then someone else has that thought or someone else expresses it. I used to think to myself that OWN doing the season 2As and 2Bs was a way to stretch out getting more episodes from the same contract, that same pay period, if you will, because I think it's so silly. Not to mention, it's hella confusing. I also know, I remember when, like, because I know Braxton Family Values, they are coming back, but when they were on, obviously, currently and consecutively, their seasons were like that too. They started doing the A and the B. And next thing we know, the families started speaking up and complaining about not making enough money. Do y'all remember when the Braxton family, with the exception of Tracy, they all protested? They did not show up to film. Only Tracy Braxton was willing to film for WeTV, and that was when they went and recruited Phaedra, and they got there were some other people. And remember, they were out on a ranch, and it was kind of silly. But WeTV needed some content to fill in for those weeks because the Braxton family, they refused to film, and they were absolutely right. And WeTV was on that season such and such A and such B crap. It's like a chitlin circuit at that point. So when Winter explained it and Queen Shiba gave her opinion, I was like, that's been my thought, because I'm like, this is so weird. And then I feel like the cast of Love and Marriage Huntsville, they work really hard. Of course, I don't know how much money they make, but damn, like season 6, that had 2 parts. And I mean, both parts had several episodes. And Love and Marriage Huntsville, they only go off the air for like 3.5 months. I mean, it was like the second half of January once the last reunion wrapped for season 6, and now May 4th they're going to be back. They're always just off the air for like 3.5 months, then they're back on for 3 months, off for three, but like they Love and Marriage Huntsville is currently on TV like 6 months out of the year. That's crazy. When on Bravo, like the more popular shows like The Real Housewives of Potomac, Beverly Hills, they'll do like about 4 months worth of episodes, then 3 reunion parts. So they're just on the air for like 4.5 months. But Love and Marriage Huntsville, they even crank out more episodes. And I assume for definitely less money. So it just seems like being the on-air talent in reality TV is not where it's at. You would want to be behind the camera. Similarly, what the music group TLC taught me is that even being the talent as far as in the music industry, that's not where it is. You want to be the singer and the producer. Left Eye, rest in peace to Lisa Left Eye Lopez. She would talk about how expensive Babyface would charge to produce your records. Now, he is the amazing Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, but he would charge them in the seven figures, like millions of dollars to produce songs on their records. Now, granted, TLC, they sold tens of millions of records, but still, Lisa Left Eye Lopez broke it down. Like, that's basically like the singer is the last person to get paid. So after you record an album, and if you are blessed to sell millions of records, your tour is profitable. Everybody else gets paid. The record label, they're going to get their money for distributing your music. Now we just stream it on our devices. So the record labels are not putting as much money up front. But back then, they were paying to distribute your CDs at all the record labels. Then those music videos, they did those expensive music videos like waterfalls, all those computer graphics where it was like the waterfall images of TLC, all that shit cost. And they would have to pay back those video budgets. You know, when you hire dancers, Left Eye said if you ate a chicken wing, that was itemized and you had to pay that money back. And then you pay your songwriters, your producers, the baby faces of the world, and then the singer gets the money. And guess what? Your money, of course, has to be taxed, and you have to pay your manager. So that was how, when they had their sophomore album, Crazy Sexy Cool, I believe it sold, I can Google really quick, it sold at least 10 million copies, but they only made like $50,000 each. That's only $150,000 for the three of them. And that is ridiculous to me. So how many copies of Crazy, Sexy, Cool was sold? Oh my gosh, 14 million copies. And all they got was $50,000 each. But somebody go ask Babyface and Ellie Reed how much money did they make. I'm sure they made in the seven figures. Insanity, okay? But that's how it is. Like the on-air talent, that ain't shit. Probably the only industry where the person that's doing all the legwork is getting paid would be sports, like the NBA, the NFL. And even NFL players, is it really worth it? Because then their health takes a hit. You know what I'm saying? It's all about being behind the scenes, production wise, where you're getting paid. Now, Winter talked about, she said that they did not have a lot of communication with Carlos. That is so opposite of what he likes to say. Like whenever there's a new season of Love and Marriage Huntsville and they're all promoting it, Carlos loves to say that, you know, he talks to them, they all get along. Now he'll say he does not hang out with his on-air talent because he doesn't want to seem like he's showing favorites. But he has said that, you know, they talk, because we've seen Melody interview with like the Ooh Ladies first panel, and she said, no, we don't talk. We don't talk like that. And that would mirror what Winter is saying. She said that they would not have a lot of communication with Carlos. So like they couldn't explain why their show was off the air for nearly a year before it came back. They had absolutely no clue. They don't know what's going on, if there will be another season. And I'm going to give my opinion on that in a minute as well. She said that Monique Samuels smartly, very smart, tried to renegotiate her contract once she knew her marriage, in my opinion, was going downhill and it was going to probably end in a divorce. So she wanted to be compensated for sharing such a tough period in her life. And I'm guessing OWN did not come with that money, and so she was out. And Winter said she felt like after that season 1 reunion, she wished she had thought of trying to renegotiate her contract. Looking back, she does think of Monique Samuels and her choices. And she was saying how when Monique Samuels quit, they were all over Ashley Darby's house. And Monique told Winter, trust no one. And I think that that was some excellent advice. And Winter really spoke of Monique in a positive way. I thought that that's cool. That was cool because when Monique first left the show, I don't think they were as cool, at least not on camera. And when I interviewed her, I think it kind of because the from I think she was basically leaning into my perception when I spoke with her, because I it kind of looked like Monique Samuels wasn't feeling Winter at the reunion. And I was like, why is she like not trying to be her friend? Is it because the other two couples don't like her? So, that was pretty much the gist of my Monique related questions. And so now to see her talk about Monique in a positive light, that is great to see. Time can heal wounds and you can just let things go, right? Every fall, when the trees drop their leaves, they teach us how easy it is to let things go. So I thought that that was very refreshing to see. I could tell like there's no beef between the two of them. Winter feels undervalued, and she felt like production doesn't care. I think that that was very significant because she talked about once Monique Samuels quit the show, it felt like production had less of an investment in the show because the rest of them were pretty much unknown. And I guess production figured that they could not carry the show. But it just takes one season for viewers to want to learn more about people. And that's what they did. I think that a lot of people could relate to having a son like little Jamie who has to find his way. And for, people who are like working class, lower middle class, you can definitely relate to Jamie Tyler being a police officer. I don't think he's the friendliest guy, at least on TV and on social media. He definitely don't come off friendly, but I do respect the fact that he is a police officer and has sacrificed his life to help, maintain civility in public in the DMV area. So I have to tip my hat off to him for that. So I think that the Tylers are very relatable. And with Ashley Silva, Ashley, she is like a mixed bag. Some people can't stand her. They think she's a bully, and then some people adore her. They find her to be very direct. In my opinion, you can be direct without coming off like a bully. Like I said earlier, Queen Shiba asks very pointed questions. She said, "We're naming names." She's direct, but she's not rude or comes off bullyish like Ashley Silva, in my opinion. So I say all that to say that the rest of the cast members, aside from Monique Samuels, they did give enough to want people to come back and just get to learn them more from watching the show. Winter reminisced on the season one reunion, and I felt like this was really tough to hear. She spoke about Jamie and quit going off. I remember that. And, I also remember Ashley like cursing her out, calling her the B word. And Winter said, "Who calls someone the B word?" I remember that from that season one reunion. Winter said that she could hear a production member say, get her," when the men were going off on her. Queen Sheba also spoke my thoughts again when she said that was bitch ass, and it was. They saw that Winter was single, she was divorced, she did not have a man to help advocate for her. And ironically, when she filmed this season with Yusha, oh, then they were acting mild and respectful towards Winter, probably because she had someone there to back her up. But I didn't like that at all. And she said that her makeup artist said to her, "This is verbal abuse." And it was. And, Carlos was down with it. Like I said earlier, at the reunion, he joked about her being a relationship coach and coming from a religious setting. And, she didn't know this guy, they're getting a divorce. So he totally set her up, in my opinion. Winter made a call to someone that she knew with the network the next day. And she said that the reunion was so chopped up that it made her look like she was wrong and apologetic. And that's interesting for her to say that she made a call to someone at the network, because I feel like the first half or what OWN is calling season 2 of Love and Marriage DC, we hardly saw Winter. And it was pissing me off because I felt like Winter carried season 1. She carried season 1. She had the real life storyline. She was going through a divorce. She admitted that she made mistakes, that she did not know the guy as well as she could have. She carried the show. She was like Risa Tisa, like what Queen Shiba said. And then for us to hardly see her, I thought that was baloney. I remember episode 1 of season 2, Winter wasn't in the episode at all. It was all about the party for Jason Tyler, the one who looks like I'll Be Sure, because he was going to a school, going away for school. And we didn't even see Winter because the Tylers didn't F with her. They didn't invite her. We didn't see her in the episode at all. And I remember she went live on Instagram and she was like, it's okay, guys. Production told me, I know I'm going to get an episode that will be all about me. And we just hardly saw her. And then we're seeing her slightly more during this quote unquote season 3, which is really 2B, but it's not enough. And it's not as much as we're seeing like the Tylers. Now, where was I? Now, Winter said that the men never apologized to Winter. She admitted to failing herself after not renegotiating her contract for season 2. Now, we've talked about before, like the term of self-betrayal, and that is when you don't speak up for yourself. If you know that someone is being disrespectful or, now don't get me wrong, there are times when if someone makes an assumption, you can just let them be wrong about you. But if it is to your benefit for you to speak up, you want to go ahead and step out and do that, so that you don't commit the self-betrayal. So I thought that that was very important for all of us viewers to hear. And Winter said that she pitched the Duncans, Sherelle and Black, and she said that they're not returning to the show and the Silvas may not return either. So here's my opinion on if there will be a season 4 of Love and Marriage DC. I kind of feel like, in my opinion, that an overall assessment would be that the cast, they kind of all like the fame. And I think that they all like being on TV. So if I'm right about that, I do think that they will return for another season if the show gets renewed. If the show gets renewed, I totally see the Silvas coming back. I know that Ashley does not F with the Tylers, but she may come back, especially if she can talk the Duncans into remaining on the show. Now, the Duncans, out of everyone, the Duncans seem like the most consistent because they don't really give like they're fame hungry or they really like the fame. So out of all of the couples, I could see the Duncans being true to what they say and not returning. The Tylers, they totally love being on TV. Jamie Tyler, absolutely. I know that they're down to return. And then Cliff and Joy, they're kind of hard to read. I did not watch Ready to Love, so I'm not familiar with Clifton and Joy. I find Joy to be very intense, so they're hard to read. I don't know if they would not return. I'm leaning towards they would return. Just because even after everything that's happened between Joy and Ashley, she filmed that scene with her where Ashley said, I mean, you're all right, but I don't like your husband. So for anyone to even film that kind of scene, I would kind of think that Clifton and Joy are down to return. So that would be my guess. But we shall see if OWN brings back Love and Marriage DC. I have a feeling it will. I have a feeling, in my opinion, that the reality TV shows on OWN is what's keeping the network going. So I think that's why they would bring it back, in my opinion. But definitely, if you have not checked out this interview, definitely go over onto Queen Shiba's channel and check it out. It was very educational, very relatable, and I love both Winter and Queen Shiba. I love their energy. I feel like it's like two kindred spirits that have come together, both physically in the same room and spiritually, energy wise. They both got a chance to connect, and it's wonderful. Please hit the like button on this video. It is a free way of supporting the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate the support. Please subscribe to Show Style and Spirit if you have not already done so. I am so excited to be off of work for a few days. It's going to be great. And I will talk with you all soon. Bye.